Hey everybody, so we are going to just do a what sold video, and this is actually going to be very quick because sales have not been that great. Everybody talks about summer slowdown, but I don't know that I necessarily can attribute it to summer slowdown as much as my own slowdown. So pish posh slowdown has been happening. Life's just busy, right? And so we're just not listing as much as we can be, as much as we should. And so sales kind of reflect that. So I'm hoping this week is a little bit better. I had a few better sales that had sold quickly. I'll talk about them next week. But then I'm hoping to today get some things listed throughout this weekend, maybe run a sale again, do something like that just to kind of hopefully kickstart some listings. But next week are some sales. Next week I have some time, a little bit more time in my schedule to focus on reselling. And so I think we're going to try to do that as much as we can next week. And then in the future, a week after that, we have to take a trip. We got some family issues that have come up. And so, there's always something. How are you guys? Hopefully your sales are doing okay. Are you guys just, if they're slow, is it because you're off doing fun things? Or, are you really experiencing the summer slowdown that a lot of people talk about? So let's just start with eBay. We're talking about things that sold in our online business, reselling business, from the 13th to the 19th. So just last week. And we sold this mug for $13.99. You do tend to get pretty generous with your offer acceptance when things are slow. 1989 World Series Oakland A's vintage coffee mug. These are always a little bit tricky. People, might collect them or display them, but with the gold, around the rim, they're not microwavable friendly, and they're sometimes just a little harder of a sell, but sometimes it won't matter. It's just something somebody needs to display or to replace one that broke or things like that. The next sale was nice, pretty good, and it was fun, right? So that's what I like. We have a vintage Cannonsburg Temporama butter dish. Now, forgive me, I can't remember exactly when I do my haul videos if this was one of the things I'd ever shown. I think in the last video I told you I had shown you something in a haul, but I didn't. Anyway, so this was a butter dish I found at a thrift store. I think I paid about $6 for it. And of course, I noticed the pattern because it's very mid-century, very atomic, things that we love to see. And when I look at, you guys have seen this pattern before because I've talked about it recently in the coffee mug version of it. And we went through that the coffee mug versus the cup and blah, blah, blah. So when I saw the pattern sitting on the shelf and I saw that it was a butter dish, I was pretty excited about that because a lot of times it's those extra pieces that have a little bit more value. You could look at plates and bowls and things like that, even on a good pattern, and you're like, is it worth the shipping? Is it worth the trouble? Butter dish is fairly easy to ship, and I saw comps in the $60 range and down when I looked, so I was excited about that. So I ended up taking an offer for $50 for that butter dish, and I was happy to have that sale for sure. Next up was a replacement piece that we just picked up at the bins. It was one of those, our clearance store, it was one of those things where Mr. Pish Posh just Google lensed it, found out what it was, sold it for $14.99. Nothing super exciting about that. At the end of the video, since the video is so short, I'm going to talk a little bit about our kind of reselling plan going forward. If you've watched my channel any length of time, you know that we've changed our plans on a regular basis. But it's just something that we're going to kind of mix up as we're seeing how things are happening in our life. And we're just going to see how it goes. And it's gotten me a little bit more excited about reselling and listing again. So we'll talk about that at the end. Let's talk about this other little tiny sale. We did counter this offer. You know what? I'm missing one. I knew something disappeared in here. All right, I'll find it for you in a second. This little lot of keys, I don't know anything about them. I don't know if they were in a baggie. I have this, or if this is something that Mr. Pishposh had in his things, but we took a $15 offer on this. A dimensions counted cross stitch kit. This was $19.94. I ended up taking a $17.95 offer on that one. And look, I took the picture on like a couch. So I think that's funny. I think that was a pretty old listing because that is like the couch I'm sitting on, but I think it was upstairs when I did that. And that was quite a few months ago when we took that. So that one did take a little while. And then Chaps, Vintage Chaps Ralph Lauren. It is not necessarily a brand I pick up. I generally don't. The reason I picked this one up is because of the popularity of the 90s and Y2K, and this is an older Chaps label. And then I was like, you know, the colors and the all over like Hawaiian print I thought would do pretty good. So I ended up selling this one for $25. So let's take a quick look at how do I want to do this? There was one more sale that kind of saved our bacon. And I don't know, I had it as a tab and then it's gone. So, you know, that's just eBay these days. I don't know where it went. Okay, I even had it open because I was looking at the video on it. Okay, so this was a Mr. Pishposh sale. Let me get this open. It was a Craftsman. It was the motor. Sorry for the delay. It was a motor. Dun, dun, dun. This page has been like this for me. Like, I don't know why. Something to do with Chrome and eBay lately. They're just not working together. Okay, so this I think did sell for this full amount, $160. It's the motor to a table saw. And I'm pretty sure, because that's what he was parting out, was this table saw. Now this table saw we sold once, and then it came back to us. They said it didn't work when they got it, when they plugged it in, right? So as you can see, Mr. Pishposh included a video this second go round to show that it really was working. Oops. See, there you go. That was the little video he put in. Now, putting videos in on your eBay listings can be kind of tricky. So there's something to do with you have to upload the videos through, I think, your desktop, and then eBay has to they have a review process for it. So if they approve it, then they'll pop it into your listing like the next day or something like that. But I've hardly played around with it at all. We wish it was a function of like, because we take our videos on our phone, and if it would be nice if it was just something that we could, you know, you could just do the video on your phone and upload it into eBay on your phone. That would make the most sense. But such is what it is right now. So that being said, the like I said, the motor got to the person. They said it wasn't working. Mace was like, well, maybe something happened in shipment. We get it back. He just he gets it, and I don't know if it worked again right away. I want to show you what he put. Like, he let them know it actually was working, but we did the refund and everything. So this is what he said in the description the next time. It says, if the motor hums and doesn't spin when first tested upon receipt, carefully spin the shaft one rotation to ensure it moves freely. So sometimes older table saw motors can have internal dust accumulation that can impede the initial startup after like shipping, jostles some of that dust around. But once you get it like stationary and you kind of shake it all out again, it should be fine. So far, I think this one is still in the process of traveling, of shipping. I don't think it was delivered yet, so hopefully that one will not end up being a return, because that's kind of a pain. I don't have the money to return anything. No, I'm just kidding. we've had a few returns lately, and they always kind of seem to come in clusters, right? Okay, let's pop over to Posh. We only had 3 sales on Posh. St. John Sport, and this is not St. John's Bay. This is the other St. John, the one that we're looking for. But St. John Sport pieces don't seem to be super high money. I ended up selling this one for $27, but it took maybe like a month or so. And then these were fun sandals, Cole Haan. I picked them up at Goodwill. They got a lot of attention on Depop, a lot of offers coming and going. They were just really nice looking sandals, kind of chunky. Cole Haan Country is the line, and from what the internet tells me, it was definitely like a 90s Y2K time period that they did the Cole Haan Country, so that kind of fits in with the style. And those sold for $40 on Poshmark. And then we also just sold this fun little denim shirt with embroidered, or I don't know, embellished, whatever you want to say, appliqued moose and bear, and you know, just kind of cute vibes on that one. Then over on Etsy, we just had this Vogue pattern doll clothes sold for $19. Vogue Craft Fashion Doll Historical Outfits. And then we had this McCall's costume pattern sell for $15. It's this poet style shirt, Renaissance kind of thing. And for men, and that's, like I said, sold for $15. So let me just pop over to the other camera and we'll talk about what's happening going forward. Okay, so real quick here, you know, I don't have all this like fleshed out exactly how I'm going to do it or what our plan is. But Mr. Pish Posh and I were just kind of talking. I said I kind of miss back in the day, like on Etsy and things like that. Even Ruby Lane, I was more into curating my vintage finds. And then I kind of got away from it over the years. I was like, just list it, you know, just whatever you find, list and sell, right? The economy changes. You start to think, you know what, I'm just going to have to sell anything I find at whatever price and just, you know, try to just move things through. Well, the problem with that is that can totally work. And you guys have seen my sales over the last, you know, couple of years or so. And we do sell a big variety of things. And that, you know, that's probably not going to change too much. But I kind of got away from caring so much about like the things I'm finding. I feel like we're both listing, and so we're both like, we're using all sorts of different backdrops. Like there's no cohesiveness to our listing. And so I don't know, sometimes that just bothers me more than others. You know, part of me is like, you know, if someone really wants something, they're going to buy it no matter, as long as your pictures are good. But I just kind of missed having a nice looking Etsy shop and things like that. So it's going to be a process, but we kind of talked about it. There's been changes in shipping as well, in the cost of shipping things on USPS. And if you don't, like, there's other YouTubers, reselling YouTubers, if you know, leave a comment if you want some suggestions about people who have talked about the shipping changes. I'm sure Justin Resells has done some. He's usually pretty clear, very clear about changes and things, if you want to kind of catch up on that. But we just kind of want to just be a little bit more intentional, because the problem with the business model of doing like a little bit of everything, even if they're lower value items, is that you need volume to keep up with that. And as you can see, we are just kind of, you know, I don't know, we don't have a ton of time, especially in the summer. Mr. Pish Posh is doing construction right now, so you know, his income is paying the bulk of our bills, as you can see from the lack of sales that I had. And so we were just like, you know what, if we get a little bit more selective, focus on our vintage a little bit more, that just makes me happy, right? So that kind of makes me want to list. If I'm just picking up some polo shirt that I was like, oh, I could probably get $20 for this, I'm going to put off listing that polo shirt because I don't care, right? Whereas I find a really cool pepper mill, right? A Danish modern pepper grinder, or I find an Arabia, Finland, pitcher with a bowl on it. Those iconic like mid-century things that get me excited, then I'm going to be more excited about listing, and more stuff is going to get listed, right? So we already have 2 eBay stores. Mr. Pish Posh has one, I have one. And so we decided to kind of divvy things up a little bit and try to make my eBay shop, it'll still have some clothing. We're not dumping everything out of the shop right now, but anything like the tools, like that engine that we were just looking at, tools and hardware and that type of thing will go into Mr. Pish Posh's side. The guy stuff, he can kind of focus on that all in one shop separately. He can do his listing and things like that. Then I'll try to just focus on like the flatware and jewelry and fun vintage finds. And we want to set up a different place to take photos so that we have a very consistent place. I used to love to do like natural light with my Etsy photos. And, so certain things like flatware is still going to be probably in the studio, tabletop studio thing on the gray background, because that's been working for me. But just some of the other things, I just want something a little bit more cohesive. And even our listings, like his style of listing is different than mine, and it's all been working. It's fine. It's just, I don't know, something that makes me, I just feel like changing it. And we've done this a lot over the years with reselling. Things change, stuff you get access to changes. You guys see that I sell a lot of things from the bins and our little clearance store, and they just raised the price at the clearance store for the hard goods. It was 75 cents a pound, and now I've heard it's like $1.25 a pound, which is fine. I know it's a lot less than a lot of Goodwill locations. And it's, it's just going to make us also, as we go there, be a little bit more intentional, as far as the weight of the things that we bring home from there. Whereas before you could just not think about it. Oh, this is cool, and throw it in here. So we're just like, we have to source a little bit more intentionally. I've used that word like a bunch in this conversation. But like I said, this is just kind of a vague thing that we're talking about. We want to cull some more dead wood out of the shop. We want to just kind of focus on putting bread and butter type stuff over in one Etsy shop that Mr. Pish Posh can focus on. And then, like I said, I'll focus on vintage. We'll put we're not going to just pick up any kind of clothing that we know can flip. Probably just the higher value clothing is probably something, just because that's what we enjoy more. And we enjoy finding those cool vintage things. And I do have a lot of cool things in my garage already. So it's time to kind of just look for those things, kind of curate maybe a little bit more of a, specialty kind of thing. And I think, like I said, with the limited time I have, I'm more happy, I'm more excited about those things that I'm listing. And I'll probably actually do better at getting things on there. So, and hopefully the value of these things is a little bit higher, so you don't have to sell as many. But not to say that, you need to only sell high price things. There are some people who do have that kind of business model. But I have a feeling we're still going to have a mix of prices in our shop. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I think sometimes you just have to mix things up. Otherwise, especially at a time where things don't seem to be working very well. So let's just try something different. It can't hurt. And I might do, like I showed you guys in a couple videos ago about when I sold those utensils and I lotted them up. I think I'll do more of that kind of thing because of the shipping costs for lower weight items at the moment has gone up so much that, we'll try to give people more bang for their buck if they're going to be paying for, shipping like that, if that makes sense. Okay, that's all my ramblings, and I will try to get this video out to you this weekend. I hope you guys have a good, I don't have time to source. I didn't have time to do yard sales today. And now I have a few, I don't know, a couple hours before I have to go back out again. So I'm going to put my money where my mouth is. I'm going to try to get some stuff listed, and I will talk to you guys soon.